YouTube, this is Shirley426, and today we have the review of the newly released RG Evangelion Unit-00 DX Positron Cannon set. So basically, what you see in front of you is the DX version. So the DX version is basically, as I mentioned, is the set where you get both the RG Unit-00 and the Positron Cannon, which is right over there. And I also brought out my EVA Unit-1 for the demonstration, which I really didn't want to, but I had to. Alright, so, yeah, the RG EVA Unit-1 was definitely a great kit, definitely fun kit, and it was mind-blowing, especially the color separation, as I mentioned as well. And the RG Unit-00 is definitely no exception as well. Of course, if you buy the RG Unit-00, you're going to have two options. You have the options to make the original test type, or the Kai version, which is the Kai version is basically the yellow version with the extra actual shoulder armor as well. Of course, there are some detailed differences which I will go over, although I will not be able to show you guys both versions at once because I only have one kit, so keep that in mind. Alright, so let's go over the review. So as usual, let's go over components. So first of all, what you get, of course, is obviously the RG Unit-00. As you can see, I went with the simple version, basically the one when we originally first see it was the simple shoulders as well, because as much as the traditional Evangelion shoulders are cool to look at the same time they also kind of hinder the articulation on the arms. So this time I wanted to go with something a little bit different as well. Hand-wise, I have the natural open hands as well. And then, hand-wise, we get more hands. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sets of hands, or 6 in total if you include the one I just mentioned. So let's go over them one by one. So number 1, we get a karate chop style hand, or we can use these as to do the running pose for the unit, for left and right. And then we get a open hand for left and right. These are more specifically for a certain pose. So once again, for left and right. We get fist hands for left and right. And these are pretty natural or simple or basic. And then here, these hands, if I remember, originally for the RG Unit-1, they actually gave you the AT field effect part to, like, as if it was rip opening the AT field part. So these were the hands that you use for that, but they still do provide these hands for left and right. So go figure. And then we get a trigger finger hand for left and right. Although for this one, you're pretty much going to be using only it for the gun. Of course, if you want to use it for the Positron Cannon, be my guest. So we can still get left and right, and we still get the machine gun. Alright, so here are the tricky parts. So, okay, hand-wise, actually we get 7 sets of hands, because we also get hands specifically meant for these knives. So I just attached these onto the hand, so yeah. And then we still do get the folding knives, but I just took out one. One should be inside one of these shoulders, and yeah. For those who are first watching this review, or who hasn't bought the RG EVA Unit-1, I just wanted to mention that the knives you get, they are not foldable. You get a folded up version, and then an open up version. Okay, so here are the parts that you would be using if you went with the Kai version. When I mean Kai, I'm basically mentioning the EVA Unit-00 with the shoulder parts. Now, I believe because in the new remake series they didn't use the blue one, they just went with the yellow version. So just to be clear, because I myself is still confused with those parts as well. But yeah. So these I would like to mention these are not exactly the same build as the RG EVA Unit-1, because it does have a similar build, but some parts are slightly different in terms of design. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. And we still do get the opening hatch as mentioned. So if you're going to be building the Kai, obviously you're going to have having these type of shoulders. But also, if you're going to be using those shoulders, you're going to need these joints. So these are the joints, how it works. So there should be another part that goes behind this, but you only get one set. So currently that part is actually being used. So basically, let's say if you're going to use this, there should be a part that has another part, and that should be facing under, so you connect it to the joint. And here, this section, you'll be connecting the arm, and then the other ball joint would be the part where you connect the shoulders like this. So yeah, so that's how it will be working. And then these parts are for I believe these should be the size. So I'm going to actually get off from the rotating base. So if you're going to go with the Kai version, so currently if you look at the size of this test type, here we have these white sections. So if you're going for the Kai version, you would have the entirely gray size at this point. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, color-wise, this is also the main reason. For me, when I think about the RG Unit-00, I don't really think about the blue one, I always think about the simple-looking yellow one, so yeah. And then the chest. If you're going with the Kai version, this is the original, like, design, but if you go with the Kai version, this is, like, the chest that you should be using. Much more flatter, there's some less popping out, and this should be on the top as well, so... Yeah, these are the chest parts, and obviously if you're going to be using those chests, the inner frame part, which is this one, you should be using this. So you do get a different inner frame part as well. Yeah, from this point. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the parts that you should be using and getting. So it's interesting to see that we have both options. So maybe, like, if you're a really hardcore fan, maybe you can buy 2 of these and build one for in this version and the other version as well. Alright, so before we go on over articulation, I would like to mention the Positron Cannon. If you can only get the Positron Cannon if you only buy the DX version. I don't want people commenting on my video saying, I bought the RG Unit-00, but it doesn't have the Positron Cannon. I don't want to hear any of that, okay? So you only get this if you buy the DX version, which is also slightly higher in price. So yeah, this is basically a whole big chunk of plastic. Like, you build it, and yeah, there's no articulation as far as I can tell, because you can see there's all these locking points as well. So here we have the handle, and this part here is the part where you connect the shoulder of the RG Unit 1. And I should mention, if you buy this version, they actually do give you parts to build the sniper equipment for the RG Unit 1 for basically the right shoulder. However, they do not give you the entire piece to build the sniper equipment. What they do is they give you the most minimum amount of piece, and then they require you to disassemble the original shoulder parts and use some of those parts onto this part. So yeah, as you can see, here is the original shoulder, and yeah, you have to disassemble it and make it into that. So once again, I would suggest maybe if you have enough money, maybe you can buy 2 of them, have one in the original and you have the other one in with the sniper equipment. So yeah, that was definitely a downside for me, but it wasn't too bad doing it. Of course, it's going to be a hassle doing it forward and backward as well, because another reason why I went with those shoulders they're very easy to attach. These ones can be pretty tricky. So yeah. Alright, so once again, I'll be demonstrating these later. And let's see what we got for articulation. Because I know a lot of people did not, well, as much as the RG Unit 1 was amazing, I know some people are still waiting for like Unit 2, 3, and yada yada. And yeah, at this point I might get even more of those. Okay, so let's see what we got. So let's look at the head. The head, the most basic looking head for the EVA unit, or at least for this guy, has a more of a Cyclops mono eye, and obviously the mono eye is in clear red, definitely loving that aspect. And then on top of the head we have the green orb as well, so which is also a clear plastic. So head articulation wise, it's pretty good. We can go down that much, actually, because we have a neck joint over there, as you can see, and definitely looks like more or biological rather than mechanical when you look about it. So you can go down that much, up that much, and then 360 twist. I say it is possible, but once you twist it, it might pop out a little bit, so just keep that in mind. And once again, one of my favorite gimmicks is that you can pull down, you push down the neck, you open this section up, flip this open, come on, and we actually get the entry plug as well. Definitely loving these kind of small details, because I believe up to this point, before the RG Unit 1s were made, RG Evangelions were made, the only like figures that actually had this gimmick were the metal build, I believe, or something like that. Alright, so let's look at the body. The body was definitely the most fun part to build, because you have this like big giant spine you make on the inside, and you have all these armor parts, you know, covering them up. So bend wise, we can go that much, and then we can go bend a lot. That's actually pretty a lot when you think about it, and it looks pretty natural if you ask me. And then each spine, or depending on each joint, would also have a left and right movement going on in here slightly. Of course, not all of them actually move that well, because everything is pretty much stiff. But you can see here's another moving point, and then on the top as well. And oh, and one thing I forgot to mention regarding the equipment is that just to make sure, I just wanted to make sure, is that you still do get the charging cable. Of course, you can see you just saw that plug here for the RG. If you bought the RG Unit 1 DX version, you actually do get like an extra stand, and then you can actually connect this part to that point as well. But of course, this one, yeah, there's not much to connect on here, so we can still plug that in if you want to do so. And one thing I forgot to mention is always the sticker decals. So we still get the sticker decals, we get the basics, we still get the metallic ones as well. I forgot to mention this because it was inside the manual. I accidentally forgot it. Okay, so let's see what we got. So we've seen the back as well, and let's get the arms. So the shoulders, the way how these connect are pretty simple. So as I mentioned, the ones with the previous shoulders would be that you would have an extra ball joint on top, and then you connect it here. This one, in this case, is no. You get a much more simple joint, and yeah. So basically, these are these more Gunpla style shoulder joints. So you just connect it right over there, and then you plug in the arm, and you're good to go. Come on, and yeah, like that. And so, which this does actually allow more movement going on here, because going 360 arms were much more troublesome on the other shoulders. But this one, you have no problem at all, and you can go to the side, about almost 90 degrees to the side as well. And so for the lower arm, I think they didn't really fix it, but they did fix the part where they were a little bit loose on the RG Unit 1. This one is less loose, but of course going 360 I would not suggest, because if you do so, the structure is still the same, where you have this yellow piece, white piece, all color separated pieces, and you can see these are on an angle, so they don't really rotate. Of course, the arms still have the nice bend going on in here, and then we have a nice ball jointed hand connection right over here. It's still a bit on the stiff side, and we still have the gimmick where if we move the hand, we can see it looks like, you know, muscle tissue is actually moving around. So we still have that gimmick. And yeah, everything you see here are all color separated pieces. This white and yellow color separated pieces, the arms, everything you see is color separated pieces as you did. So I have not used any of the stickers required. Not that they were 100% required. These are being an RG kit. So as far as I understood RGs is that they also give you these metallic stickers to put on certain joints and areas. I did not use any of those as well, so keep that in mind. Alright, now for the legs are pretty good. We can go forward a lot because there's the Evangelions don't really have front skirts, back skirts, or side skirts going on, so you can have a really nice kick up front. Back, I don't know why, but I'm having a little bit of trouble going back, but okay, so not as much as I saw for the back. You can go not really 90 degrees to the side because of the design. If it were like much more of a more simple design thing, you would be able to pull that off, but you still get a nice side swivel going on here, and a nice double jointed bend. And keep in mind that being an RG, and this has no polycaps, everything you see is plastic. And then we have a nice pivot joint, despite not having polycaps, and I believe we do have a toe bend here, and you can slightly twist the ankles as well. And these parts here are ball joints, ball joint connections to be more specific. Alright, so we've seen the basic articulation, so I'll be right back with the demonstration or anything I forgot to mention. Okay, I'm back. Here is the demonstration of the Positron Cannon and the RG Unit-00. So currently I have Unit-00 out with a knife and a machine gun, although having the knife would not make any sense, but just wanted to show you guys the knife. For those who have not bought or seen my review of the RG Unit-1. So the machine gun is definitely cool. You have a lot of color separation here. Even the end tip is metallic silver, while the inner parts are green, black, and there's actually a ammo belt part which is red. And with the amazing amount of articulation, doing a kneeling pose is no problem at all. But I'm pretty sure for those who bought the DX version, you're also interested in the Positron Cannon. As I said, the Positron Cannon is a very long weapon. At the same time, with the EVA Unit 1 having to hold it, it's going to be a very long display. So currently, the manual at the end of the manual, they show you to do like some sort of connection part doing thing on the shoulder, but that doesn't really, it's not really a connection. It's more of a just to show you guys like where to generally pose the shoulder to make it to look more natural of a sniping pose. So that's what it is basically. And currently the shoulder equipment you saw at the first part is basically there was this one part dangling around the shoulder. This was the scope right over here. So it looks like it's actually scoping in here. You might see some split over there. I had some trouble with this white piece not going in, so I had to disassemble like 3 to 4 times and cutting off the inside part, sanding the inside part to make it go in. hopefully it was just mine. Hopefully other people's don't really get that point. So just to give you an idea how this works, I'm going to take off the trigger finger. Yes, you need to have the trigger finger on the gun. So you can see the trigger finger is right over here. So one thing I forgot to show or kind of missed on my articulation part of on the Unit-00 is that, first of all, let me just get this straight actually. So currently this is also meant for the Unit-1, but the Unit-0 can also pull it off. So currently, as I showed you guys, I didn't really show you guys much of a back pose, right, like this. I only show you guys like a back pose going like this, but apparently if you straighten up the back and then do it one more time, you can go a little bit more. So this is actually meant to do the sniping pose as well. So, oops. I'm not sure if there's like some sort of locking mechanism depending on where you actually position the joints, but yeah, you can go definitely much more better now. So even the manual tells you to straighten up the back and then go back. So you can see, seems like the Unit-1 can go a little bit more farther than the Unit-0, which I guess would make sense because the Unit-0 was much more of a test type. And here is that sniping equipment. We have some sort of antenna going on here, and this is part of the scope. So what you do is basically, once you have this part on the right shoulder in the correct position, you just lower it down, and it's pretty much automatically right in front of, or kind of right in front of the right eye of the Unit-0 to give you that illusion. And then if you look at the back of the Positron Cannon right over here, you have this part, which I saw was supposed to be like a clipping mechanism onto the right shoulder, but no, it's just to give you the general idea where to put the shoulder in. So once again, you do the back thing, you flip it up, and then all you need to do is just pretty much put the right shoulder into that orange socket right over there, and then connect the trigger finger. Or you could do it either way you want. What I usually do is to put the trigger finger in first, and then just reposition everything there, and it's already at a pretty good position. Like that. Of course, like with the limited articulation on the arms, it's really tricky to put the left arm in a more correct position. But I think a lot of people who knows how the kit works can do a better job than me. So yeah, and that's pretty much it for the review. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys might be wondering, can I, like, since we have a leftover shoulder part for the RG Unit-0, can I attach the sniping equipment onto the Unit-0? And I'm gonna say no, because as I mentioned, the shoulder joints or the shoulder armor for the RG Unit-0 are not exactly the same as the RG Unit-1. So there's the same similar design, but they actually have a different design piece in the inner parts. So it's not going to be 100% fully fit. So you're going to have to do modification, or you can just use that and then color the purple sections in yellow, or maybe like that. And that's pretty much it for the review. So once again, I would definitely highly recommend not all of them, but maybe at least try one RG EVA kit going on. So currently Unit 2 has already been announced, and we're pretty much going to be getting that soon. And then I believe the pink version, which is I believe is Unit 8 or 9, is also going to be coming out. And Unit 3, I think I've seen rumors about it, but still, yeah, at least trying one of them should be a good idea to give you an idea how these kits are very fun to build and how amazing they are. Anyways, thank you for watching the review. If you guys got any questions or requests, you comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.